You have a pretty big ego, and honestly, you kind of deserve it. Your species built cities, crossed oceans, walked on the moon, split the atom, and somehow invented an app where complete strangers argue about pineapple on pizza. Not bad for a bunch of hairless apes. It's easy to look around and think humans were always the main character, but you're only looking at the last page of the book. This is your father, and his father, and his father, and his father, and his fathers. I meant when they were alive. Anyway, keep going. A lot more. To reach the first humans, you'd have to go back nearly 300,000 years. Now let's squeeze all of that time into a single day. The Industrial Revolution happened in the last 58 seconds. The first airplane, about 35 seconds ago. Humans landing on the moon, around 11 seconds ago. The internet, roughly 5 seconds ago. Smartphones, about 2 seconds ago. And modern AI, so recent it barely shows up on the timeline. For almost the entire day, none of this existed. No one was checking notifications. No one was ordering food with a phone. No one was asking an AI to write a YouTube script. Then suddenly, in less than a minute, everything changed. So here's the weird part. Humans didn't suddenly become intelligent 200 years ago. The people living 10,000 years ago weren't stupid. Neither were the people living 50,000 years ago. In fact, if you could somehow bring a baby from 50,000 years ago into the modern world, they would probably grow up to be completely normal. They could become a doctor, an engineer, maybe even a YouTuber. Although I wouldn't recommend that last one. So if humans were already smart, why did it take almost 300,000 years for things to go crazy? Because intelligence was never the problem. Imagine you discover how to make a better spear. Great. Now, you can hunt a little more efficiently, but then you die. And maybe your children remember. Maybe they don't. Maybe your tribe gets wiped out by disease. Maybe another tribe never learns about your idea at all. For most of human history, knowledge moved at the speed of a walking human. And humans are surprisingly slow. A person could spend months carrying an idea across a continent. Today, that same idea can reach millions of people before you finish this sentence. For thousands of generations, humans lived in small groups scattered across the planet, each group solving the same problem. Each group starting almost from scratch. Then something began to change. Not our brains, not our bodies, but the way we shared knowledge. And once that changed, things started speeding up. A farmer no longer had to figure everything out from scratch. A builder could learn techniques discovered hundreds of years earlier. An astronomer could study observations made by people who had been dead for centuries. For the first time, knowledge started stacking faster than it was being lost. Then, humans built something even more powerful. A machine that could copy ideas, the printing press. Before it, copying a book was slow, expensive, and incredibly boring. After it, ideas could spread across entire countries, then entire continents. And once millions of people could build on the discoveries of millions of others. For the first time in history, copying information became faster than copying humans. Progress stopped crawling. It started sprinting. But knowledge alone wasn't enough. The Romans had books. The Chinese had books. Brilliant people had existed for thousands of years. Yet nobody was building factories. Nobody was building railroads. Nobody was flying across oceans. So what was missing? Energy. For most of history, almost everything was powered by muscles. Human muscles, horse muscles, ox muscles. Basically, civilization was a very complicated, muscle-powered machine. Need to move something heavy? Muscles. Need to travel? Muscles. Need to grow food? Believe it or not, more muscles. Then humans discovered something completely ridiculous. Ancient sunlight. I'm serious. Millions of years ago, enormous forests covered parts of the earth. Trees were capturing energy from the sun. Those trees died, got buried, and eventually became coal, which means the Industrial Revolution was powered by dead plants. That's it. The modern world began because humans started digging up prehistoric trees and setting them on fire. When you put it that way, it sounds less like history and more like a side quest, but it worked. Suddenly, one machine could do the work of hundreds of people, then thousands, then millions. For the first time in history, humanity wasn't limited by the strength of its own muscles. And once that happened, the last 58 seconds really began. And humans used it. Everywhere. Factories, trains, ships, Pretty much anything that could be improved by setting ancient forests on fire, which, it turns out, is most things. For almost all of history, if you wanted more work done, you needed more people, or more animals. Need to move twice as much stuff? Get twice as many horses. Need to grow twice as much food? Good luck. Then machines showed up and completely broke the system. One machine could do the work of hundreds of people. Another could pull loads that would make a horse question its life choices. And suddenly humanity had a problem it had never had before. Too much power. Not superhero power, although that would be cool. The boring kind. The ability to move more stuff, build more stuff, dig more stuff, burn more stuff. Humans became so good at changing the world that we basically forgot what the original version looked like. Most of us live surrounded by roads, buildings, screens, and machines. It feels normal. But if you dropped a modern human into Earth 10,000 years ago, they'd think they landed on another planet. And in a way, they did. Because the world you're living in right now is incredibly new. For almost all of human history, there were fewer than 1 billion humans on Earth. Today, there are more than 8 billion, which is a lot of humans. In fact, if you've ever been stuck in traffic, you've probably noticed. Humans didn't suddenly become better at making humans. We've always been pretty good at that. We just became much better at keeping them alive. More food, cleaner water, vaccines, antibiotics, modern medicine. For most of history, humanity was playing a game called Try Not to Die. And to be fair, we weren't very good at it. Then things changed. The population exploded. Cities got bigger. Countries got richer. And humans started covering the planet with stuff. Roads, bridges, railways, buildings, power lines, parking lots. So many parking lots. If aliens visited Earth tomorrow, there's a decent chance they'd assume parking was our dominant form of life. And humans didn't just change their own lives, they changed the planet. A lot. In fact, we've gotten so used to it that we barely notice anymore. And humans didn't just change their own lives, we completely hacked the planet's biomass. Take chickens. There are roughly 25 billion chickens alive on Earth. That's more than 3 chickens for every human. Somewhere along the way, humanity looked at an ancient jungle bird and said, "Congratulations, you're everywhere now." Or take cows. There are now so many of them that if aliens tried to figure out who was running Earth, they'd probably have some questions. And it's not just animals. We've covered continents with roads, filled the skies with aircraft, connected the planet with cables, and built cities so large that ancient kings wouldn't even understand what they were looking at. At this point, humans have modified so much of the planet that future geologists will probably see us as a layer in the rocks, which is a strange thing to accomplish. Most species leave behind fossils. Humans leave behind concrete. And the weirdest part, you don't think any of this is strange. To you, roads are normal, airplanes are normal, the internet is normal. Pulling a device out of your pocket and instantly talking to someone on the other side of the planet is normal. But none of these things are normal. They're incredibly recent. You were born in the final seconds of the timeline, so your brain treats them like they've always been here. They haven't. For almost all of human history, nobody knew what a country looked like from space. Nobody crossed oceans in a few hours. Nobody carried the world's knowledge in their pocket. Nobody asked an artificial intelligence to help write a YouTube script. Then, in what amounts to a few seconds on our 24-hour clock, everything changed. And here's the part that should make you slightly uncomfortable. The timeline doesn't end with us. The last 58 seconds are still happening, which means future humans may look back at our world the same way we look back at the Stone Age, as the beginning, not the destination.